This is every drug smuggler caught on Customs UK.
In the immigration hall, passengers are being observed as they come off the flight. One man with a white jacket and red shirt has been seen to be acting very nervously. He spots the brown suitcase that's suspected of containing drugs, goes to pick it up, but quickly leaves it on the belt. As the brown suitcase comes past again, the man stares at it intently and seems unsure about whether to pick it up. He later leaves with someone else's red suitcase. But as he passes through the customs channels, he's stopped to answer a few questions.
How long are you going to wait for this? 4 weeks, yeah? What's the purpose of your Did you pay for your ticket yourself? I see, right, okay. Where are you off to from here? Croydon. Okay. This is your bag? This is your only bag? Yeah?
The officer checks the luggage tag with the man's travel ticket, which prompts him to have a change of heart.
This is your bag, huh? Do you know where your bag is? Take that bag? Yeah?
The man is escorted back to the baggage hall to look for his real suitcase, but it's already been found. It's the same brown suitcase he was staring at on the carousel, and which is thought to contain drugs.
Okay, right, the time is now 11:26, okay? And we're just being involved in the importation of controlled drugs.
He's led away to a private interview room for further questioning.
George, can you take some detail just of that? And then we'll get rid of that, I think. I'm sure it's got nothing to do with him.
I think it's a female's name.
Officers look inside the red suitcase to see who it might belong to.
I think he realised that people were sort of onto him possibly, and so what he's done is he's just picked up a random bag. He's taken the tags off of the bag, which associates him to the other bag, and then he's just picked up this bag to walk through customs.
With the red suitcase on its way back to its rightful owner, officers can now concentrate on the contents of the man's real bag, which they strongly suspect contains illegal drugs. He's led away to the airport's custody suite, where the contents of his suitcase can be formally assessed.
The whole bag together was 29 kilos. Now there is some stuff in there, but I would think that there's probably approximately 20 kilos of cannabis here.
8 blocks of what looks like herbal cannabis are pulled from the man's case. It's no wonder he was keen to avoid being caught.
Sit yourself down. All right, just need to take your shoes and...
The man is held in a cell whilst the packages of drugs are weighed.
16 kilos, 16.070. Okay.
I had to cut every one of this. It looks like it is herbal cannabis. I mean, as soon as you cut into it, there's a quite a strong pungent smell. I mean, it's actually surrounding, the whole room now. But I had to check all of them because sometimes they have mixed cocaine with cannabis.
A field test is done to confirm the substance definitely is herbal cannabis.
The positive indication should be a kind of like a reddish colour. See, there we go. That's a positive indication for herbal cannabis.
With a street value of more than £45,000, it's an excellent result for the officers. All the man can do now is await his fate. It's early morning rush hour, with dozens of flights arriving into Gatwick from Africa and the Caribbean, source areas for Class A drugs. Customs officers are on high alert, searching passengers who fit profiles associated with smugglers.
Okay, I've just x-rayed a passenger's bag and you can see there's clearly 2 rectangular shapes there, so I'm just going to cut the bag open and have a further inspection of what those shapes are.
The passenger told immigration he has no money, will be staying in Britain for 2 months, and a friend has agreed to pay all his expenses. It's a story Mike has heard many times before from drug couriers.
You can smell it already, can't you? Smell it.
It's well concealed, but Mike thinks he's found a large quantity of cocaine built into the case.
There it is. There's a white paste in there.
The paste tests positive for cocaine.
So, good result.
Let's go nick him.
10.55, yeah? So I've conducted a test on the bottom of your suitcase, which has shown a white paste. A white paste.
Yes.
Yep, I've conducted a test on it which says it's cocaine. Therefore the time is 10.55. I'm placing you under arrest on the suspicion of being involved in the importation of a controlled drug. Okay, if you could follow this officer, please. Okay. Sorry? Right, well that's all going to be discussed with you later. I will remind you that everything you say will be noted down now, okay?
The attempted importation has failed.
Sit on that seat there for me, please.
And it was a long way from being the perfect crime.
He's got a really duff invitation letter. The grammar of it was awful. There was capital letters mid-sentence. It wasn't very good at all. There was also a signature on the bottom of the invitation letter, and the writing was very, very similar, so I assume that it was written by him himself.
It's a serious crime carrying a maximum of 15 years.
Right. Underpants down. Okay, up.
The officers want to find out if anyone else is involved, and the investigations could take some time.
Yeah, so we've just nicked someone, so there's a good chance I'll be late.
The man initially observes his right to silence, but he soon starts giving information about possible accomplices.
Okay, what is the name of the person that's meeting you here today? Okay, and what does he look like? Right. Okay, how tall or small?
At my hat.
About 5'10". Long hair, short hair? Bald head, like mine? Yeah. Okay.
Mike decides to put out an announcement for the man to come to the information desk to see if they can catch him too.
About 34.
Bald head.
Bald head.
About 5'10".
About 5'10".
The smuggler caught in Gatwick is now being transferred to the custody cells, where the reality is beginning to sink in.
You just stand in front of that desk for me.
Is there anybody that you want telling, a friend or family that may be meeting you or worried where you are?
I would like to call, I would like to let my wife know.
The man is locked up, while the officers out back work out how much he'll be charged with trying to smuggle.
As you saw on the X-ray, there was 2 of these. From what we've got here, we've estimated that the total amount of cocaine could be 2 kilos, which has a street value of about £100,000.
And in the terminal, the person meeting him has answered the announcement and has been arrested. A poorly planned crime has gone wrong on every level.
Could you handcuff Barry?
We've gone to the information desk in the North Terminal, where we've put out a call for the person meeting the courier today, and a gentleman has come forward and said that he was here to meet him. We've subsequently arrested him, and he's been brought here today to the custody suite, and also the driver of the vehicle that was also here to meet him, he's also been brought here, the taxi driver.
All 3 are under arrest and placed in cells for questioning. It's now up to the investigation team to find out who was responsible and ensure a successful prosecution. It's another important seizure, but with all the suspects claiming to know nothing about the cocaine, it could take some time to work out who's guilty. 6 months later, the Gatwick cocaine smugglers pleaded guilty and were sentenced to 6.5 years in prison. The taxi driver was released without charge. Across in the Gatwick custody suite, the officer's suspicion about the two Eastern Europeans was spot on.
Is that the Ritz? Hello, yeah, it's Kevin here. I'm in custody suite. We've got two smugglers.
Kevin and Mark questioned the suspected smugglers. The men were then x-rayed. Inside their bodies are dozens of packages full of cocaine.
You just take your clothes off, put this on.
Back down here for me.
The men will remain in custody until the packages have passed through their systems and the officers can collect and analyse the evidence. Meanwhile, a Lithuanian translator has been brought in to explain the situation.
Right, because he's got packages inside him, we will put him in a cell in a moment and we're going to turn CCTV cameras on and he will be monitored at all times for his own health and safety.
Yeah, until I pass them.
Yeah. Okay, does he want anything to eat or drink at the moment?
No. Yes.
Officers must closely monitor the men and observe when they go to the toilet in case they attempt to swallow the packages again after they've passed through their systems.
Is the other guy in the cell?
Yeah.
Because this guy says he needs the loan.
Right.
So I'm wondering, is there any... do you have any problem with me taking them?
Not at the moment, the temperature's having a cup of tea. So
okay, so it's just taken to the special?
Yeah, yeah. Okay. There's a special toilet, basically, where it collects any packages when people go to the toilet, basically. So it's a way of collecting the evidence to ensure it doesn't go down, doesn't flush down the loo. Not our favourite job, actually. Yeah. But fortunately, Mark's got the job, not me.
The guy asked to go to the loo. He's been to the loo. We've got a special one that we use for people who swallow drugs. And obviously, if they pass any, we need to collect them up. And yes, he did. So I need to go and sort that out now.
For Officer Mark, this is the first time he's dealt with drug swallowers. Collecting the evidence is not a pleasant experience.
Yeah, let's see, you may... Yeah, good. Yeah, okay.
As the toilet is flushed, the Lithuanian swallower's cocaine is washed into a special basin. If just one of these packages had burst inside him, the man would have been killed within seconds.
Yeah, thank you.
An unlucky Mark's job is to rinse and clean the packages so they can be sent off for testing and used as evidence. In all, the men had swallowed 50 packages each with more than 1 kilo of cocaine. They've since pleaded guilty and will now have to swallow a long prison sentence. It's early morning at Gatwick Airport. In the North Terminal, a flight has just touched down from Port of Spain in Trinidad and Tobago. With flights from the Caribbean known to be a popular transit route for drug smugglers, officers use various methods to check passengers arriving in the country. One male passenger has been stopped in the customs channels. He claims to be a student and has come to the UK to visit his aunt. Officers question him further about his travel plans.
Sorry, I heard my colleagues say that somebody helped you pay for your ticket? Yeah. Who paid for your ticket? Your aunt in Trinidad. Okay. Wow, so you got a club ticket. So you sat in club. How much did you pay?
7,001 TTC.
What's that in sterling?
I don't know.
Roughly, you know?
It goes like £600.
£600, wow. For a club ticket, that's good.
But this wasn't the man's original ticket.
So the first ticket was a return ticket.
Which I couldn't follow back.
So you couldn't follow that back because you were late.
Yeah.
Do you have your return ticket with you?
No, I don't have that here.
Okay. All right. Just going to get an iron track for you.
Yeah.
Not much baggage there, is there? You got no other baggage?
No.
That was it?
That's all.
Wow, travelling light. The guy's come in from a week's trip to Trinidad. He's a student here, so he's obviously not earning lots of money. His baggage doesn't support the fact that he could travel as a club passenger, and So it just doesn't look like a very good story at the moment, but we'll see. I'm just going to do a narcotics swab. Have you used any drugs while you've been away? No. Okay.
Officer Andy swabs each of the man's bags to see if he's come into contact with any drugs. The swab comes back negative, but a concerned Andy still isn't happy.
It just doesn't tie together, so we're going to search him. We've got sufficient grounds to search him, and then we're going to consider whether we want to put him through the X-ray to see if he's got anything inside him.
The man is taken to a private room to be searched. But after finding nothing, Andy decides to follow his instinct and take the man for an X-ray.
You get to know what's normal, and so when you get something that's unusual, it sticks out.
The man agrees to do a full body scan.
And breathe out all the way and stop. Stand still, stand still, stand still. Okay, you can start breathing again.
The results come back immediately.
And I would say that this gentleman is full of packages.
Caught red-handed, the man looks resigned to his fate.
We've got a swallower in the North Terminal off the Port of Spain. He's just had an X-ray, just confessed to swallowing 60-odd packages, and we'll be bringing him over very shortly.
With potentially lethal packages inside him, the man's safety is now the main concern.
All I would say to you is that the sooner you can get rid of these packages from inside of you, the better. It's obviously very dangerous for you to have them inside you. Okay? You all right? Okay. He's asked to go to the toilet, so we shall take him into our special toilet suite. We'll have to sit and watch him, unfortunately, and hopefully he'll start the process of producing packages.
The toilet the man will use is a special facility that will collect any packages he passes, so they can be cleaned and kept as evidence. And it doesn't take long for him to start producing the goods.
There is one package there that you've just produced. I have to tell you that is now seized as forfeit. Quite clean, but he's obviously struggling. It's quite a big package. So he now wants to have something to eat and drink to try and force the natural process. Could be up to 5 grams a package if they're all that sort of size. So half a kilo Coke, something like that, inside him.
Half a kilo of cocaine is worth approximately £25,000. It's a sizable discovery for the officers, but a very dangerous pursuit for the man.
We have a duty of care just to keep an eye on him and make sure that if we see anything untoward, we can get there very quickly.
All they can do now is wait for nature to take its course. In Gatwick, the X-ray has picked up a bag with some suspicious contents. It's put back on the carousel while Calvin watches from a distance to identify the bag's owner. The passenger's girlfriend is walking ahead, a tactic often used by smugglers to avoid detection. Calvin follows the passenger through the channels, where the Class A drugs dog Rossi gives an indication on the same blue bag. The questions asked by the officers are seemingly obvious, but the answers given can be used to build up a prosecution if anything's found.
So is this all your baggage? Is that your baggage, sir? Yeah, and these are bags you took out with you? Has anybody given either anything to bring into this country? Okay, just have a quick look in the blue bag then. Yeah, just the blue one, is it? Start with that one. Start with that one. Always start with the bottom one. You know what this is? Don't touch it. Okay, apply booze to be drugs.
The suitcase is full of sealed packages, which look like cannabis. The couple are arrested immediately.
Not meant to win questions, something which later rely in court. Anything you do so may be given in evidence. Do you both understand? Do you understand? Is that yes? Do you understand? Yep. Okay. All right, let's take it out the back now.
Cannabis is a Class C drug, but a quantity like this is worth thousands of pounds, so the investigation starts immediately. And Calvin needs to make sure the right people feel the full force of the law.
Between 10 and 15, probably. It's probably more like 15 kilos. I mean, obviously we'll have to spike it first and test it, do a field test to establish what the drug is. I'll make an assumption that it's cannabis. Okay, and he'll explain your legal rights.
Whatever the packages contain, it's not looking good for this suspect.
Move the cards, okay?
It's a significant seizure, but Calvin's job now is to make sure everyone involved in the importation is identified and prosecuted.
What are you doing? Right, sit down. All we'll do is we'll let the custody officer know you're here, okay? And then he'll come and see you and explain your legal rights. Okay? Sit down. Okay, again.
Intercepted Green Channel, North Terminal.
North Terminal. And opened a blue suitcase, which he did. Unzipped it, found it to contain foam. Under the foam with tape back packages, which I believe to be controlled drugs.
11:38.
Cell number 2. Before you do, you can take your shoes off and leave them outside and your belt. I'll get you. You've got a blanket, might be. You take your shoes off them. Just leave them outside here. Yeah. Do you want any drink of water or anything? Sure? Okay. How about a cigarette? You can't smoke here, I'm afraid. And the name on this bag relates to the female. That will tie her into this bag as well as him.
It's unclear who's involved, so the female passenger must also be kept in custody.
But it looks like there could be controlled drugs in one of the bags. Do you understand it? Sorry?
You know what drug it is?
No, I don't know yet. They will find out when they do, and let me know. Let you know. We just suspected that they are drugs at the moment.
Calvin suspects the packages contain cannabis. And the smell is unmistakable.
We check them all just to make sure they all are cannabis rather than we've had concealments before where some have been cannabis and some have been cocaine.
They do all contain cannabis.
And the weight of the packages is 20.63 kilos.
It's a huge amount of drugs off the streets. The cannabis found in Gatwick was valued at £55,000. The man has since pleaded guilty. The female passenger pleaded not guilty and will stand trial soon. At Bristol Airport, a flight has just landed from Malaga in Spain. Border agency officers working in immigration are alerted to a couple who've been acting suspiciously. A woman dressed in black and a man in a stripy jumper head to baggage reclaim. Officer Brandon decides to follow them to monitor their behavior.
We've got 2 targets from Malaga. We'll pull them on, just quick chat and check what they've got. You never know.
Brandon moves into position, ready to intercept the couple as they pass through the customs channels.
Hello, they're both customs. Just come through, please. You are together, yeah? How long have you both been away?
Oh, holiday.
Yeah, how long?
2 weeks.
Okay. And where have you travelled whilst you've been away?
Oh, just around Spain, just in the Artis Costa.
Right. You stayed in one place, or?
Yeah, about all around holidays, just normal.
Okay. You ever been stopped by customs before?
No.
Okay. Bags packed by yourselves? Everything in the cases belong to yourselves? Right. So where certain things aren't allowed to be brought into the UK, drugs, weapons, obscene material? Yeah.
The man stares intently as his suitcase is searched. He then removes a mobile phone, which causes suspicion.
Okay, sure. Just part of the check, yeah? That's fine.
He gets his phone back, but seems a little agitated. Then a package is found, which might explain why.
What's the name, mate?
It's sweets. Sweets. All sweets. For kids.
Right, well, you'll open it up because I can't see what's in there. Go on.
But Brandon's not falling for that. He opens the package to check the contents himself.
Yeah, so sweets, is it? Yeah. It's cannabis, isn't it? Herbal cannabis. You're not sure? You said you packed the case yourself?
Yeah. Put that in here.
All right. I say this time, all right, you're under arrest, all right? Right. Basically, you're both under arrest, you're both travelling together, okay? On suspicion of importing an illegal drug, controlled drug, all right? Now, you don't have to say anything, but it may harm your defence if you do not mention in question something that you later rely on in court, all right? Anything you do say may be given evidence, do you understand?
With both passengers under arrest, their cases continue to be searched. And it doesn't take long to find a number of identical packages.
How much you got in total, mate?
That's it, 4 packages.
The search now moves on to his wife. Almost immediately, Officer Brandon finds something hidden in the clothing. This time, he suspects it's cannabis resin. And as with the man's case, there's more than just one package. The drugs have been crudely concealed in clothing with little attempt to hide what's inside. As the last block is removed from the case, the couple know they've been caught red-handed.
There's 6 resin cannabis and 4 packages of herbal cannabis. I'm not sure weight at the moment. I understand what you're saying, but I can't at the moment, mate. All right.
The man should perhaps be more concerned about the illegal drugs found in his suitcase than having a cigarette. But tampering with the drug seizure will only get him in more trouble. As the couple are taken away for a full body search, officers are eager to find out how much they found.
2.68.
2.68 kilos of herbal cannabis and 5.48 kilos of cannabis resin adds up to a haul worth over £20,000. It's a huge amount of illegal drugs removed from the streets.
It has been adopted by a higher level team, if you like, within the department, and they usually only take on the larger cases. So we wait and see, but it is a substantial amount. There's no getting away from that.
It's been an excellent day for Brandon. Less so for the couple, who'll now be detained in custody. In Gatwick's South Terminal, sniffer dog Badger is examining baggage arriving from the Caribbean. Customs dogs are possibly the most powerful tool in the fight against drugs, and all have their own skills. Badger is known as a cocaine specialist. He gives a clear indication on this black suitcase. The case is put back on the carousel and kept under surveillance. Whoever picks it up will then be stopped and searched to see if Badger's right. A passenger collects the suspect bag and then attempts to pass through the controls. But Customs Officer Phil is waiting for her.
Hello there. Hi. Where have you just arrived from? You selling by yourself? Yeah. Can you come to a bench for us, please? Scared to come up to this one here for us. Thanks very much. Your passport, you please. Have a quick look. Right, these all your bags here? Did you pack them all yourself? Yeah. And do you know what's inside all of them?
No, I've got clothes.
Just clothes? Have you been forced or threatened to bring anything into the UK? And do you understand the controlled drugs, firearms, they're illegal to bring into the UK? Let's have a quick look. You got the keys? Yes.
Phil checks to see which is the suspect case and then asks the nervous passenger to open it.
Okay, just going to put this one for our extra machine as well, okay?
Phil can't see anything yet, but an X-ray shows what looks like organic material in the wall of the case.
So that's probably what we're looking for. I'll quickly go and do this, quickly go and spike it, just make sure.
Phil finds a white powder, which he tests to see if it is cocaine.
Let's see.
The speed of the reaction indicates the quality of the drugs.
It's actually not reacting.
It's gone now, look. It's
sort of.
It's obviously not very good quality.
That's what we were hoping for, but a bit quicker and a bit more.
The purity is low, but Badger's legendary nose for cocaine has sniffed out another smuggler.
Okay, the time is 07:32 and I'm arresting you on suspicion of being involved in the importation of a controlled drug. You do not have to say anything. It may harm your defence. Do not mention, when questioned, something which you later on in court. Anything you do say may be given evidence. Do you understand? Yeah.
The woman's face says it all.
Right, just leave that there. Just come around here. We're going to take a seat on the far side, please.
Okay, do you understand why you've been arrested? No. Okay, we found what we believe to be a controlled drug in your bag.
She's keeping quiet. Not surprising, as there's around 1 kilo of pure cocaine in her suitcase.
So it's all the way around the bag. You can feel it as well, how thick it is.
Good job.
The woman's taken to the custody cells for questioning. If found guilty, she could be facing a long prison sentence. The drugs, worth nearly £50,000, have been taken off the streets, and it's all thanks to Badger.
There's always that time between the indication when they actually find it. Sometimes it can be up to sort of quarter of an hour before they actually give you the thumbs up there's something there. That's a bit of a worrying time. But with that indication, more or less knew there was something there straight away.
At Gatwick Airport, a flight has just landed from Bridgetown in Barbados, a popular transit route for drug smugglers. The body language of one passenger has caught the eye of officers. He's been acting nervously since coming through immigration, so he's pulled over to answer a few questions.
How long ago did the shirt?
Sure.
Yeah.
2 days?
Yeah.
I planned it about a month ago. I bought the ticket early last week. I'm out for travel.
So did you go from Canada to?
Yeah, to
Barbados.
Yeah, I went from there. Well, I figured it's better to go there first and go all the way back. It just didn't make sense.
A quick search of the man's suitcase has revealed nothing suspicious, but his animated and nervous behaviour is causing great concern.
Have you used any cocaine while you've been away?
No, I haven't.
So if we do an X-ray of you, there'll be no cocaine in your system. Then you have no packages.
No packages.
You sure? So you have no problem doing an X-ray?
Have to do an X-ray?
Yeah. You got packages of cocaine inside you?
I have no packages.
Are you sure about this?
Sure.
Yeah?
But the man's answers aren't convincing, and he started to sweat noticeably. A swab test of his suitcase is carried out for any traces of drugs. The machine gives an extremely high reading for the presence of cocaine. As the circumstances become even more suspicious, officers escort the man to a private interview room for questioning. Here they hope he may confess to being a drug smuggler.
You can't stop talking. You look as nervous as anything. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Okay, go on.
I think you may have drugs inside you, or on your person. Okay?
He's basically done a couple of iron tracks and they've come up quite high. He suspects that it may be internal concealment. So he's just arrested him now, and then I dare say, provided we get acceptance from him, that we'll body scan him just to check that he's clear.
Smugglers carrying packages internally often secrete traces of drugs through the sweat in their shoes. A swab test is conducted for any further hits of cocaine. And another very high reading for cocaine causes more concern, giving officers a good reason to put the passenger through a full-body X-ray.
Is this a consent?
Yeah, because you're taking our X-ray,
Yeah.
we need your consent to say that you'll do it for us.
Well, I'm not going to give you my consent. I think this is a load of crap.
Okay, well what happens then if you don't do the X-ray? You stay with us until you've produced 2 clear bowel movements, however long that may take.
If you don't want to, that's fine. We'll just take you downstairs, get you custodised, put you in a cell in a white suit, and we'll wait there till you've moved your bowels twice to show there's no packages there. Or we can do it now by doing an X-ray. You're cool.
The man's options are limited. They'll find out one way or another whether he swallowed any drugs.
Right, now what you need to do, this conveyor belt's going to move, yeah? You're going to stand on it. You need to stand on it as I'm standing on it, nice and straight, yeah? Arms by his side, nice and still. And breathe out slowly, yeah? Until your lungs are empty and hold.
With the net closing in, officers try to get him to confess.
How many packages you got? What? Cocaine inside you? No. Huh?
Incredibly, he's still denying it. But the X-ray images confirm their suspicions that he's stuffed with packages. The man is led away to the airport's custody suite.
Let us know immediately if you feel unwell. Hello.
He kept pleading his innocence, but after a week and a half in custody, he eventually went to the toilet and produced 36 packages of cocaine with a street value of over £30,000. In Manchester, a radio message has come in from a pilot of an EasyJet flight. 2 female passengers are suspected of smoking cannabis in the plane's rear toilet.
Who is it, blonde? I'll go upstairs, mate. All right, I'll go upstairs.
The pressure is now on for sniffer dog Amy to identify the suspects amongst the crowd.
Stay single file to the right, please, as you're coming through, thanks. Just stay to the right and keep walking past. Ames, in here. Just lower that bag for me, please. Amy.
Amy
Lower
is
the
looking
bag,
for
please.
drugs, but UK border officer Phil is trained to spot
Can you just stay that
suspicious
side, please?
behaviour.
Thanks very much. There was a girl who didn't really want to. I don't know whether she had a small handbag. If it was her, she wasn't too keen on lowering it for the dog.
It wasn't a definite indication, so Amy boards the plane to search the seats for any drugs ditched by the suspects.
Hey, am I in about the general area where she was sat? Yeah. Dog isn't pinpointing any particular area, she's just very busy around all those seats. Staff have been on already and done a search of the whole area. So what there could be, the dog could just be picking up the residual smell of whatever she's been doing, been taking.
With no physical evidence left on the plane, the officers will stop and search the 2 suspects for any cannabis. Unexpectedly, the officer gets a hit for cocaine.
It's quite noticeable that this particular one wasn't keen for the dog to go anywhere near her. And by the sounds of it, they are getting traces of them at the moment for cocaine. So the officers are just doing further investigation on that at the moment.
Confronted with the evidence, one of the girls admits to having taken cocaine. But with such strong traces, officers are still highly suspicious.
Well, still getting hits absolutely everywhere for coke. That's the thing. You said you used some last night, yeah. First luggage. I also got hits on the plane for coke. So from the dog where you were sat.
On the plane?
Yeah, for you both, yeah. your seats on the plane, okay? So, what I'm going to do, we'll take you into, you want to take one of these rooms, we'll get someone to repack the bag and bring it in. Come in here with me.
Officers have no jurisdiction over drug use abroad, but they suspect the girl may be carrying cocaine internally. It's a serious crime with potentially lethal consequences.
Also, I've got suspicion that you could have drugs internally somewhere because there's none in your bag.
You crazy man.
No, that's what it is. So, what I have to do here, okay? I'm arresting you, okay? On suspicion of being involved with the illegal importation of a controlled substance, cocaine. Okay, it's okay on this one. I have to arrest you. You do not have to say anything, okay? But it may harm your defence. If you fail to mention something in question you later on require, anything you do say will be given in evidence. Do you understand that?
And what happens when you don't find anything?
If nothing's found, I'm sure you'll be arrested and go on your way.
Their ordeal is far from over, and their attempt to dispose of the evidence has failed.
Okay, right, no worries.
One of the officers found a package by the bench, which we think one of the girls has actually dropped. It was found to be cannabis in a sock. He's actually looked, and within the cannabis he's found a small plastic bag, like a deal bag, containing some white powder. We suspect that to be cocaine. The girl who was travelling with her, the officers have conducted a search of person. During the search of person, they found another package. It's a sock containing cannabis. They weren't sure whether they could feel something else, so they upgraded the search to a strip search. They've done a strip search now, and they're quite happy she's got nothing on her person.
But having detected such high hits for cocaine, the girls are led away for a full body X-ray. Class A smugglers face a maximum of life in prison.
Just get in there and sit down, please. You're best not talking to each other. If you talk to each other, we'll have to take you one at a time, and it'll take longer.
Dealing with suspected drug swallowers is also stressful for the officers. If the girls do have packages internally, it's a life-threatening situation.
By using the machines we have in the Green Channel, we've found very high traces of cocaine. So we believe they could well have concealments of cocaine inside them. We just simply put the passenger on the machine and it passes the person through the machine. We instantly get an image on screen that we can examine, and if we can see packages there, then they're back up to custody while we await the packages to pass through the system.
Find anything?
Don't know.
What do you think?
You tell us. We've got to be 100% sure there's nothing up there. If we say there's nothing there, and if it is something like cocaine, that does, when the package does split, you're talking a matter of seconds before you suffer a fatal overdose. So we want to be 110% sure there's nothing there before we say, yeah, it's negative. If you put your feet on them marks, hold on to either side, it's be a couple of seconds and it'll start moving.
Thankfully, both scans are clear, but the girls are still in trouble. 2 weeks later, a court decided the drugs were for personal use only, and they got a 12-month suspended sentence for the attempted importation. In Manchester, a flight has just landed from Paris. The French capital has connecting flights to all the world's drug source countries, and UK border officers are on the lookout for any smugglers trying to slip through in the crowd.
Thailand, you want to just come through here? Are you travelling on your own or are you with somebody? On your own? Just come through here, please. How long have you been out for?
3 days.
And what was the purpose of your trip?
Wedding in Paris.
This passenger arrived from Paris, but began his trip in Thailand.
Why did you go to Thailand for?
Why?
Yeah. Oh, right, OK. So how long are you in the UK for?
Till Sunday.
Till Sunday. So what do you do in Thailand?
I'm a cook.
Border officer Zoobs is yet to catch his first cocaine smuggler, and disappointingly, this passenger's story sounds plausible. But a strong hit for cocaine from the passenger's passport raises suspicions. Next, Zoobs swabs the man's toothbrush to work out if he might be a user.
Quite a strong hit, that.
Zoobs gives the man a chance to explain the hits.
Right, I've just actually done a quick swab of your passport and your toothbrush. It's giving me high traces of cocaine.
Huh?
It's giving me high traces of cocaine.
Right.
Okay. Have you actually come into contact with cocaine in Thailand?
No. In Thailand?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm not a user.
But you're not a user.
No, I'm not.
So how do you explain cocaine traces from a toothbrush, which is personal just to yourself?
I don't know.
Right, okay.
With the man offering no explanation, Zoobs has to assume he's carrying drugs either in his bags or in his body.
Okay, I've actually had high hits of cocaine from the trainers, right? How do you explain all these stuff? Now, if you've actually used cocaine out there, I'm not interested.
In Thailand?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's...
You've used it out there now?
I said that to you.
No, you said you didn't.
I did. I said that to you once or twice.
Just once or twice in the past. And
Yeah.
when was the last time that you've actually...
2 months.
About 2 months ago. Right.
Yeah, it's not a problem. We need to know if you've used in the past, you know, few weeks.
Yeah, I understand that.
And you're saying you haven't. Right. You sure?
But under pressure, the man changes his story again.
Well, so when was the last time?
I used it in Paris.
In Paris?
In Paris, so it actually wasn't 2 months ago.
He's finally admitted using, but as he's already lied, the officers need to make sure he's not carrying any drugs.
What's on there?
There's a TV appearing from me.
Of you? They're just a selection of CDs, and he's got one DVD. He's a celebrity chef, apparently. It's something to do with... that's what he said he was, a celebrity chef, some sort of TV programme. That's the passenger.
Although some of the story checks out, Zoob still thinks the passenger may be a smuggler.
Initially, he denied he was a user. He's admitted to the fact that he first told me he last used 2 months ago. And then he came down to the fact that at the wedding where he went to in Paris, they had a big session.
Have you asked him if he'd object to such?
I've not asked him, but just see the reaction, yeah.
Still on the hunt for his first ever cocaine seizure, Zoobs puts the man on the spot.
If we were to ask you for a search of a person, would you object to that?
I'm carrying 2 grams of cocaine. I have 2 grams of cocaine in my underwear.
Right, okay.
Zoob's persistence means he's just bagged his first ever cocaine seizure.
The time is 17:35. I'm arresting you on suspicion of being involved in the importation of controlled drug.
The man's admission is set to land him in a whole heap of trouble.
Just take a seat on the back wall. Come on.
And the seriousness of the crime is already starting to hit home. The man is visibly distressed, but Zoobs needs to get his hands on the cocaine hidden in his underwear.
Are you okay, sir? Are you okay to continue? Can you bend down, please? Part your buttocks, please. Okay, sir. 2 small packages in plastic bags that were on his underwear. In the UK, one wrap probably about £50–60 for what it's actually worth. I mean, he's put his neck on the line.
It's a small seizure, but with serious consequences.
You do actually feel sorry for individuals, I mean, for doing things like that. But at the end of the day, I mean, they've actually committed a crime.
It's especially significant for Zoobs, as it's his first ever Class A seizure.
This was my first arrest for cocaine, so my heart was actually pumping, and it's like, from speaking to colleagues, they say regardless how many times you actually do it, your heart does pump, you do get a buzz.
But there'll be no buzz from this cocaine. It will now be destroyed. At Gatwick Airport, a flight has just arrived from Antigua. Suitcases from the flight are unloaded and checked by sniffer dogs before passengers collect them in the terminal. One female passenger from the flight has raised suspicion. After passing through immigration, she was seen changing her clothes in the toilets. So UK Border Agency officer George has stopped her for questioning.
She actually changed outfits from when I saw her down by immigration when she was getting her passport swiped. When talking to her in the channels, she actually said that it's because she had a long journey and she had some soggy clothes which she needed to change out of. It's a suspicious activity. Normally people would just wait.
George carries out a routine search of the woman's bags.
When she went upstairs, I noticed that she had a carry-on holdall, which sometimes they can actually sneak drugs through their holdalls.
The holdall and its contents are taken away to be x-rayed. Officers will be looking for any hidden concealment. George continues his search of the woman's suitcase.
Yeah, that's okay.
The holdall gets the all clear, but the woman's laptop looks decidedly suspicious.
On the X-ray, it's sort of uneven. As it goes in, it shows that there may be something inside. Yeah.
With concerns there may be drugs hidden in the laptop, it's taken away to a workshop to be properly assessed.
Okay, what's happened? Yeah, we've got a clearer image and it shows.
It may seem brutal, but the only way to find out if it does contain anything illegal is to break it open. It looks like their hunch was right. Officers discover a package they suspect to be drugs, stuffed inside the laptop. A simple test will be able to confirm their suspicion.
All he's doing now is splitting it to take a small sample, which we can test on this cocaine reagent here, so which will give us an indication as to what type of drug it is.
The reagent will turn blue if the substance is cocaine.
It is there.
With a positive identification for cocaine, the news is now broken to the woman.
Carried out an examination of your laptop, and we have found a white substance hidden behind the screen. We've carried out a field test for cocaine, which has come up positive. So the time is 10:19. We're arresting you on suspicion of being involved in the importation of controlled drugs. You do not have to say anything. I'm not. You do not have to say anything, but it may harm your defence if you do not mention one question, something which you later rely on in court. Do you understand?
As she's led off for further questioning, officers take this opportunity to use the cocaine as a training aid for sniffer dogs.
We try and educate the dogs on live concealment because we can't replicate that. You know, they've spent a lot of effort to sort of hide that concealment in that laptop. We just can't do that with our training samples. So now the dogs, their sort of learning curves just shot right up.
With the game now well and truly up, the woman's attitude begins to change.
This is for Hillary.
She may be laughing now, but all that awaits her is an empty cell. Officers stay with the woman while her belongings are checked in, and she's informed of her rights.
I just need you to sign on that top right corner, please.
Meanwhile, George inspects the cocaine concealment further.
There's a lot of work which has gone into this. This would be actually considered a deep concealment. For a rudimentary way of trying to, I suppose, disguise it from an X-ray was by covering it in foil, but obviously it hasn't worked.
Right, just want to take your shoes off and put them here.
As the woman is checked into her cell, she starts to vent her frustration.
And if you do need us, in here. Just listen to me. Let us know if you need anything else.
Would you like to see the part of the block with the film, right? You want to see that part?
That's it. She's getting a bit upset now. When she was stopped, even when her computer was being x-rayed and everything, she was quite calm. But everyone's different. Everyone reacts in different ways, so there is no way you can spot a drug smuggler, is it? They come in all shapes and sizes.
One thing left to find out is the weight of the drugs.
So that's coming in at around about
530 grams. So depending on its purity, it could actually be quite substantial.
With an estimated value of £25,000, it's been a very successful day for the officers. Less so for the woman, who will have plenty of time to contemplate her actions. In Bristol, a plane from Banjul has just touched down. Officers are on the ground hoping to catch any drug smugglers, notorious on this flight.
Banjul is a flight for us, really, which is produced for cocaine as well as a couple of cannabis seizures have been taken from it. Anything which doesn't look familiar or looks out of the ordinary, it could be anything. Just pull it off and pull over the passengers and see what's in the bags.
The X-ray can identify drugs, tobacco and foodstuffs. But to find out exactly which, passengers need to be searched.
Shows the round shows it was organic. Another one there. We've got 3 bags so far.
The X-ray has identified 3 suspicious bags. But while the team wait to apprehend the passengers, a man with a small bag and a new suit tries to make a quick exit.
It's too suave. It smells like it.
Just stopped the gentleman. He's claimed he's been out there trying to do some business for a couple of weeks. Looks like he's got a false bottom on his suitcase. That was it.
The passenger's bag has been glued. Inside is an unusual object that Russ suspects may have been put there deliberately.
I mean, it might just be some sort of strengthener, but I think it's possible it's a strengthener. What's that? That there. Got about 3 or 4 compartments, this suitcase. Between the linings, it just looked like there was a bit tacky and a bit of glue along one little rim. It's quite well done. It looked intact for most of it, but it's just a little layer of glue. I've sort of pulled it back and opened it up in the middle, and there's a package within that. I'm suspecting there's probably other packages within the other bits as well, but I can't see what's in it at the moment. It's just a plastic package, but it's clearly something suspicious, so we need to just arrest him and take it further from there.
Have you scanned it?
The passenger is arrested, while Russ tries to determine what's in the suspicious bag.
Just test it first and see what we get around there.
What around? Do you want me to touch your
back? It's glued as well. Just
there?
What do you think it is, Russ?
Could be anything.
Just something on there, right, okay.
Ooh,
it's pretty high.
The package within the bag has come up with quite a high positive trace for cocaine. It's possible there might be some other packages within that bag. But I'm going to need to put in a call to our investigation team to see what they want to do with it from this point.
The bag is X-rayed, and it looks like there's more than they thought.
It's good when all this stuff we have works.
What do you reckon that could be? 3 kilos or more?
Good job, Russ. But I did say I wanted that one.
It's a serious haul of a Class A drug. And before Russ can transport the arrested man into custody, he'll have to be strip-searched.
The only behavioural indicator that I spotted was him fiddling around in his pockets a lot. He is nervous. Yeah.
You go from top to bottom? From bottom to top?
I normally get him to do the bottom first. On conscience, we have been authorised to conduct a strip search of you because of what you're carrying in your briefcase.
Not all smugglers act the same, but this man appears unconcerned by the seriousness of the crime.
Okay, if you can remove your jacket and your belt to start with, please. I was just saying, actually, it's amazing how cool he is. To get what he could be possibly getting at the end of this, it's amazing how he's so cool. I mean, he hasn't even raised his voice or anything. He looks really cool. It's amazing, to be honest. You don't know, really. You don't know what they're feeling inside. If you was to put your hand by his chest, it may be a different story. But from the outside, he looks as cool as a cucumber.
The officers also search the rest of his bags and find 2 passports in other names.
Oh my God, that's got another one. Got another passport. Yes.
The gentleman's in a significant amount of trouble at the moment, yeah. And he'll be handcuffed, put in a car and taken to Weston-super-Mare Police Station. He's just sitting there very compliantly at the moment. Hopefully it'll stay that way when we take him to the police station.
It's a great result for the officers, with over 3 kilos of cocaine off the streets and 1 more smuggler heading for some serious time behind bars. At Gatwick Airport, a lone male passenger has been stopped by officers. He claims to have come to the UK for a family wedding.
Can I just ask you a little bit more about you said you're over here for your sister's wedding? Yeah?
We're on vacation, but she told me she's getting married, so I will attend at the same time.
All right, so you had initially planned to come over here for a vacation, and then you found out your sister was getting married.
Having looked in the man's suitcase, Officer Sarah chats to colleagues with concerns about the man's possessions.
The clothing, it's all manner of sizes, ranging from medium through to XXL. They're quite new bags. The shoes are not the same size. There's nothing in there that I would expect somebody to wear to a wedding.
Officers working in immigration have already called a phone number the man has provided for his sister.
The sister apparently has made no mention to the immigration officer of the wedding.
With too many holes in the man's story, and with reason to doubt the purpose of his visit to the UK, the man is led away as concerns grow that he may be a drug smuggler.
His demeanour didn't seem right when I was talking to him at the gate. He said that basically his sister has paid half the ticket to come over here and half of the hotel booking fee. However, immigration have spoken to his sister and she said, no, I've not given him any money for the ticket, but I am going to be paying half the hotel fee.
Even though nothing is found during the search, officers still suspect the man may be smuggling drugs inside his body. A swab test is conducted on his shoes. Swallowers will often secrete traces of drugs in the sweat in their feet. And a small trace for the presence of cocaine increases their suspicion.
Okay, we're going to ask him if he'll go through the X-ray.
Oh, okay. The man is taken to the body scanning machine to find out if he's got any packages inside him.
We'll just ask you to stand on this conveyor belt like this, okay? And then when we push a button, we'll move over towards the wall, okay?
Exhale, hold your breath, don't breathe in, don't breathe in. Okay, carry on breathing now, that's fine. Breathe as normal.
Do you want to follow me?
The results from the X-ray are conclusive.
I think there is something there.
He looks very full up, this guy. He does look very complicated there.
The images on these screens do look like there is some kind of mass there, so it's quite possible that he has got packages inside him.
Sarah breaks the news to the passenger.
Now, I've had a look at the X-ray images in there, okay, and I think that there may be something inside you. I think you may have swallowed possibly some packages of drugs. I'm arresting you on suspicion of being involved in the importation of a controlled drug. You do not have to say anything, but it may harm your defence if you do not mention when questioned something which you later rely on in court. Anything you do say may be given in evidence. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
The man is put in handcuffs and escorted to the airport's custody suite. Officers have a duty of care to ensure that the packages of drugs pass through him as swiftly and safely as possible.
In due course, he'll be interviewed, and for the duration of his time with us, he'll be monitored 24 hours a day, and he will use a special toilet and pass the packages that he swallowed as nature takes its course.
Since we've been in the custody suite here, Mr. Cross has been into the toilet twice. He's not passed any packages, so he's been put into a white paper suit in the custody suite here in the cell, and then we'll be transporting him up to Heathrow in the prison van.
The man was monitored at Gatwick Airport for a further 3 hours before being taken to Heathrow. He eventually passed 41 packages filled with cocaine. At Gatwick Airport, a flight has just landed from Montego Bay in Jamaica. UK border agency officers are using drug detection dogs and an X-ray machine to monitor luggage coming off the flight. A dog indication has been given on 2 suitcases, and the X-ray strongly suggests that there are drug smugglers on the flight. In the baggage reclaim area, officers closely monitor the first of the passengers to collect one of the suspect's suitcases. A young mother and child collect the case and head towards the customs channels. It's here that Officer Mike steps in to stop the woman and break the news to her.
Controlled drug. Your bags. The bags you just said are yours. Therefore, I am arresting you on suspicion of being involved in the importation of controlled drug. Do not have to say anything. It may harm your defence. Do not mention when questioned something may later rely in court. Anything you do so may be given in evidence. Do you understand?
The woman is led away for further questioning, but protests her innocence.
Please don't play the game. Right, we're going to be getting some women in to search you anyway.
That's fine.
Meanwhile, the second suspect suitcase is collected by another passenger.
Hello there, sir. You travelling alone today? Just bring your bag over to the bench for me, please.
The man declares he's the owner of the suitcase, so Officer Gary confirms his fate.
I'm arresting you on suspicion of the illegal importation of a controlled drug into the UK. You do not have to say anything, but it may harm your defence if you don't mention, when questioned, something which you later rely on in court. Anything you do say may be given in evidence. Do you understand you've been arrested and cautioned? Right, if you come this way with me.
The man is also led away for further questioning.
Straight over towards that officer over there.
With both passengers now under arrest, Gary can finally inspect the suspicious brown packages found in the suitcases.
We suspect them to contain herbal cannabis, and that's why the gentleman's been arrested and cautioned.
The contents of the packages will need to be formally assessed to get an idea about the weight and the value of the drugs. A strip search was conducted on both passengers, but no further packages were found. The woman is led away to the airport's custody suite to be detained, whilst Officer Mike assesses the quantity and value of the drugs found in her suitcase.
She had 8 blocks in the bag. All of them are about 2 kilos each, but I'll chuck them on the scales in a minute and just get a weight of all of them together.
With such a large haul of suspect packages, a field test must be conducted to confirm that the substance definitely is herbal cannabis.
Put the first drop on it, then that'll go through onto the second bit of filter paper. Then put some of this powdery stuff on it. And if it's positive, it should go sort of a dark red colour. Right, that's a positive then.
OK, there's a couple of blankets there. If you want anything, just give us a buzz. OK?
The male passenger is also detained at the custody suite. A series of large, brown, sealed packages are pulled from the bottom of the man's suitcase. Gary weighs the packages of drugs to find out how much the male passenger was carrying.
And as you can see there, the 8 blocks weigh approximately 17.26 kilograms. So there's probably about 16.5 to 17 kilograms of herbal cannabis within them packages.
The 16 blocks found in both suitcases weighed over 34 kilograms in total and had a street value of £80,000 to £100,000. At Gatwick Airport, a flight has just touched down from Port of Spain in the Caribbean. While sniffer dogs assess the passengers' hand luggage, officers are on the lookout for behavioural indicators.
Hello, sir. Just a quick customs check. See your passport and ticket, please. Travelling with anybody else today?
Sniffer dog Jessie continues to check passengers coming off the flight, but the officer hasn't finished with the car mechanic just yet.
Okay, just have a quick look through. Can you just take a step that way for me? Okay, thanks.
Intuition is vital in stopping suspicious passengers.
Feels like there's an area in here. I'm just going to cut into that. Okay? Yeah.
After tearing into the briefcase, it doesn't take long to make a significant discovery.
Just found what I suspect to be cocaine there. So I'm arresting you on suspicion of being involved in the importation of a controlled drug. So you don't have to say anything. It may harm your defence. If you don't mention when questioned, it's means later on in court. Anything you do say may be given as evidence. Do you understand? Okay.
The passenger will now be detained and taken to the custody suite for further questioning.
When we took him to his cell, we said that the satchel was handed to him by somebody else at the airport. He was asked to bring that through. So this isn't his case. But then he already told me that it was his earlier on. So what I'll do now is just remove some of that white powder with a knife. Yep, there we go, so it's gone blue, so that's positive. There was only 5 envelopes in there, and now I've taken those out, it's still quite heavy. You can feel that the walls are quite wide. The courier himself, I don't know how much money he would have got, maybe £1,000, £2,000 perhaps.
The briefcase was found to be carrying over 2.5 kilos of cocaine, with a value of more than £125,000. Back in Gatwick, the suspected cocaine smuggler picked out by the sniffer dogs is now being searched.
They did this over there, so it doesn't matter what
Sorry,
how you pack it back or whatever.
Right, oh, okay.
Because they pretty much messed it up.
Who was that?
They checked the bags and whatever across there.
They checked them before you came out, did they?
They
Right.
did the same thing.
Oh, okay.
So they pretty much messed it up, so.
Right.
With 3 separate sniffer dog indications on the bags.
Okay, I just need to do a quick x-ray of your suitcase, all right?
Yeah.
UK border officer Fitz is convinced he'll find something inside.
All right, doesn't seem to give us that much information about it, so probably have to do a further examination. I'll take it to the tool room and have a look, have a closer look, actually.
Surprisingly, Fitz can find no sign of cocaine. And even the drug swab is clear.
Well, they actually ascertain there's nothing in there. No, which is a bit of a shame, really. As it was a good indication by the dogs, I must admit.
It's disappointing, but with such strong suspicions, Fitz isn't willing to give up the search just yet.
That's the thing that you plug into the television.
Right.
It's a games console dance mat, but something doesn't add up.
Has you got a PlayStation with her?
No.
So why would you have one of these anyway?
Yeah. Right, round 2. I mean, it is heavy as hell.
Fitz then spots the clue he's been after.
The actual casing looks like it's already been removed once before.
This sounds like a sniffer dog. It's just looking for minute particles of substances that is stabbing his sky high. It's got to be there.
Suspicions are now even higher, but where are the drugs?
Is that rubber impregnation?
That's what I think it is.
Ever seen it in a dance mat?
Have you tried doing it on that? You can break the
Yeah, that's what...
Can you break a bit off?
No, you can do if you want to. The material's gone blue. Oh. I can't say that's a positive then.
Amazingly, the rubber inside the dance mat is full of cocaine.
The time is 10:10. I'm arresting you on suspicion of being involved in the importation of a controlled drug.
It just goes to show, with smugglers using ever more devious methods, the officers can take nothing for granted.
Anything you do say may be given in evidence, do you understand? Okay.
The officers' persistence has paid off, and yet another smuggler has been caught red-handed.
North.
The drugs were ingeniously hidden, and one member of the team deserves a special reward.
Knock yourself out, you little star. Well, he's just had his second job in 3 days to cocaine detections, which is unprecedented for such a new dog. He's only been in the job for 6 months. It's brilliant. But in the meantime, he's going to get this as a treat because it's just an unbelievable job for such a young dog.
And while Barney enjoyed his bone, the woman won't be enjoying her freedom. She pleaded guilty and could be facing around 10 years in prison. In Gatwick, a flight has arrived from Montego Bay. During a routine passenger search, UK border officers have found a package that looks like it could contain drugs. The passenger has been arrested.
The lady came off the Montego Bay flight and she was intercepted by one of our officers. Upon searching her bag, he found a package which we believed to contain cocaine. Took her to a search room. Whilst the package was being tested, the package tested positive for cocaine.
Knowing she's been caught red-handed, the woman confesses to other packages of drugs hidden under her clothes.
Right. This is what was found in the back of the suitcase. It's what we would call a stuffer's package, which would be put up somebody's backside probably. But that was found in the bag, and that was what we decided made it a job. And then during the ship search, we found this, which is all full of cocaine attached to her waist.
The audacious smuggling attempt also involved some highly modified underwear.
This little body packer suit filled with cocaine.
It's a massive amount of drugs for one person to be carrying.
Nearly 2.5 kilos of coke on the body.
The seizure demonstrates the officer's skill in identifying smugglers.
Just stopped just to ask her a few questions. No real reason to stop her over anybody else. Historically, we tend to get more cannabis than we do cocaine in the flight. So she obviously saw her opportunity, knowing what she had on her person, and just walked through the channels. Unfortunately for her, she was stopped. Are we cuffing?
Suddenly realizing how much trouble she's in, the woman goes into shock.
Right, no more jumping around, okay? Stand up straight. Yeah? You're gonna walk with me? You're gonna walk?
You're gonna behave yourself.
I know it's hard, but you just need to...
The woman is taken to a holding bay for further questioning. Officers will need to be extra vigilant to ensure that she doesn't try to harm herself again. Having tried to harm herself, officers have handcuffed the woman for her own protection.
If the officer takes you, I understand you were banging your head upstairs. If the officer takes your cuffs off, you promise me not to do that here, yeah?
Just move this way.
I don't want you damaged. I'm here to look after your welfare and your rights and your health. I don't want you damaging yourself while you're here. Right.
Lift your hands up for me. So this lady's arrived from Montego Bay this morning. Search of the hand baggage revealed a cylindrical package. Cut was made in the package, which revealed a white paste.
How old are you? Sorry, can't hear you. Have you also swallowed? I need to know from a health and safety point of view. If you have, it's a danger to yourself.
I don't take drugs.
Okay. So you haven't swallowed anything as well? Okay, that's good.
Having found a substantial amount of cocaine on her person, officers must make sure
What it
she's
is
not
it's
carrying
just going to be
drugs
another search.
anywhere else.
And then there's the hairpiece.
All right. I didn't even notice that was it. You happy with what's in that, yeah?
Yeah, I searched it already. When we told her that we were going to take her to custody and put her into a cell, she started slapping her own face and banging her head on the table, which is obviously not a good sign. So myself and another officer ran into the room and restrained her and applied some handcuffs. We now have to watch her because of her behaviour, and you know, we have to be extra alert, not knowing how she's going to react when she gets locked into a cell, how she's going to act when she's on her own, if she's going to try and harm herself. I do feel sorry for them sometimes because you wonder what it takes for them to actually do something like this. Yeah, just that amount on the person, 2.5 kilos is a lot to have. It's quite greedy.
Having already shown signs that she's prepared to self-harm, officers must ensure that nothing further happens to her whilst in their custody.
because of that sort of thing, she might try and top herself, so we have to watch them on camera.
And she'll have to get used to being locked up. She was sentenced to 7 years in prison. At Gatwick Airport's South Terminal, a flight from Puerto Plata in the Dominican Republic has just landed. Vigilant UK border agency officers, with the aid of highly trained sniffer dogs, are always on the lookout for drug smugglers from the Caribbean. And one passenger has triggered great interest. The man's nervous behaviour has led to him being targeted. As he passes through the customs channels, Officer Michelle has been observing his body language.
Thank you.
She decides to intercept the passenger to ask him a few questions.
Hello, sir. You've got your passport on you, please. How long are you here in England for?
No, today I'm going to Holland.
Right, so you've been to Puerto Plata, come here, and from here you're going back to Holland, are you? No cigarettes at all, nothing like that. Okay, you also know it's illegal to bring any controlled drugs, weapons, explosives, etc. into the country, yeah?
The man's travel plans just don't seem right, and Michelle is becoming increasingly suspicious.
Sometimes we have a problem with people bringing drugs through on their bodies, okay? So therefore we just want to give you a rub down of your body, okay? But we won't do it here, we'll do it out the back, okay?
As the man's led away, there's a feeling his story just doesn't add up.
He only works in a factory in Holland, so it's obviously not really well paid. He's picked to go to Puerto Plata, which is an unusual place for someone to go. He's gone on his own, and he's booked it all last minute. He's got all the extras you can possibly have. So it makes his holiday very expensive just for 7 nights and to go on his own. It's just bizarre, that's all. You just get feelings with some things, and it's just doesn't seem right.
In a dramatic turn, the man is taken for a full body scan to find out if he's smuggling drugs inside his body.
The other way, sorry. Yeah, if you stand like this, that way. Yeah?
Yeah.
Go up onto the top, onto travelator. If you can breathe in as well, that will help us.
Ready, breathe in. Try and hold.
As he holds his breath, the man's fate hangs in the balance. His day is about to get a lot worse.
100%.
He's stuffed with packages of drugs.
Okay, sir. From what we can see on the X-ray, looks like you have packages inside you. Time is 08:53 hours. I'm arresting you on suspicion of being involved in the importation of a controlled drug.
He needs to concentrate on getting those packages out because he doesn't realise, you know, if one of those burst or leaked, it could cost him his life.
Basically, when people have an internal concealment, to make sure we can see if they produce anything, we change them into what we call a white paper suit, and then we can see if there's anything happening. And underneath, they'll be completely naked.
The man indicates he needs to go to the toilet, but this is no ordinary toilet trip, and this is no ordinary loo.
So he's gone into the special toilet facility, just waiting for him to come out to see if he has actually produced any.
Yeah, put him on the gentleman said he needed the toilet, and while I haven't counted them at the moment, it looks like he's produced around 20 packages, and he's told the custody officer he's got 60-something. So obviously, the quicker they're out of his system, the best chance he's got of survival, basically.
The process of washing the packages is a very dirty job, but someone's got to do it.
If one of the packages were to split, basically ends up with death within minutes, unfortunately. So that is why we try and get packages out of people as quickly as we possibly can, because the consequences of a burst package are pretty serious.
With the packages washed, Officer Paul must bag them up and weigh them to find out what quantity of drugs the man was carrying.
Definitely big packages. 344 grams of cocaine so far. If you take away a little bit for the packaging, etc., it's probably about 300 grams. 1 kilo nowadays is worth around £50,000. So he's probably carrying about £50,000 worth of drugs with him. These packages here, they're now seized from you, okay? And they're all yours, up to you.
The Dutchman pleaded guilty to smuggling cocaine and was sentenced to 5.5 years in prison. Further inquiries resulted in another arrest. At Manchester Airport, an international flight has just arrived with over 200 passengers on board. UK border officers are scanning and x-raying bags for any unusual signs.
This one's coming in from Montego Bay in Jamaica, so it's of interest to us from a drugs angle. You get cocaine and cannabis both produced and imported from the Caribbean, so basically any flights from the Caribbean are of interest for drugs.
As passengers disembark, Officer Liz is on the lookout for any suspected smugglers.
Hello, sir. You travelling on your own today?
Yes.
Can you just bring your bag this way for me, please? Where have you come in from?
Jamaica.
Yeah, can you just bring your bag this way, please? Do you have a passport and ticket? Are you aware it's illegal to import certain things into the UK, such as controlled drugs, indecent material, offensive weapons?
Yes.
Do you have anything like that with you?
No.
Do you have anything to smoke or drink?
No.
Right, OK, what's in your duty-free boxes there? OK, so that's to drink. So how much rum have you got?
It is 6 bottles.
6 bottles of rum. OK. Do you have a key for this, please?
He's way over his allowance for spirits, and Liz is suspicious about the man's denial. She decides to x-ray some of the goods in his baggage for any hidden drugs.
The gentleman's just got some fruit and some bottles. What I'm doing, I'm just x-raying it just to make sure that there's nothing concealed within the fruit or the bottles. Sometimes I've had little packages that are stuck behind the labels in the bottles. So I'm just checking there's nothing concealed there. They all look fine, so. He's got quite a lot of bottles of rum cream. I'm actually going to test one of the bottles just to make sure there's no cocaine in solution. What's just happened here is I've just been swabbing various things as I've been going through the baggage. I've just tested the swab and it's actually come up with a small trace of heroin. Okay, now that's quite unexpected really, because the sort of drugs you'd be expecting to find from Jamaica would be cocaine and cannabis. So it's only a small trace, and I'm just going to see if I can replicate the hit to see where it's come from, and then I might ask him about it.
Having found the trace, Liz is now on the lookout for any behavioural indicators the man may be smuggling.
Okay, had a good meal on the plane?
Yeah, the meal was terrible.
The meal was terrible? What was it?
What did I have? Some powdered eggs.
Some powdered eggs? Is that it? All right.
But it's not just the man's manners causing Liz concern.
Sounded like you just had a 3-course roast dinner. Yeah. One of the indications that someone might have an internal concealment of drugs is actually burping. And I don't know whether you caught that, but he just gave a very loud burp and he's not eating very much, so, you know, my suspicions are raised a little bit. He's also not got a lot of money. He's got £5 to get a taxi to somewhere, which he might get there for £5, but I'll just carry on, see what we get.
The last thing to check is the passenger's rum.
Can you pass me your duty-free boxes up, please? Cheers. Okay, this isn't rum, is it? This isn't rum, is it? What is it?
Yeah.
Okay, just wait there for 1 second.
Liz's intuition and patience has finally paid off as she finds a large package stuffed inside the duty-free rum cases.
Okay. Obviously what I was expecting to find in the duty-free boxes was rum. Okay, this clearly isn't rum. So obviously I suspect it to be drugs. What I'm going to do now, cut into there. Okay, and what we've got here is herbal cannabis by the look of it. I'm actually going to arrest the gentleman. I'm going to ask my colleague to test it, and I'm going to just take him into a private room and arrest him. Just want to take a seat there, please. Okay, I suspect this to be cannabis. Okay, so the time is 08:33. I'm arresting you on suspicion of being knowingly concerned in the illegal importation of a controlled drug.
As the man begins to realise the consequences of his actions, Liz gets the results back from the tests on the substance.
All that red colour there, that's confirmation that it's cannabis. Obviously the indicators there that he's nervous and all the rest of it are still there. We now know why he's nervous, because he's got this, but I can't discount the possibility that he may be carrying drugs internally as well.
But the man is less than happy at the suggestion that he may have swallowed drugs.
I need to be sure that you don't have drugs on you, inside you. Are you okay with that?
No, because I have nothing in my stomach.
No, because you've got nothing in your stomach, right? If you refuse to have the compass, you will be monitored and we'll have to wait for nature to take its course, and you'll have to have 2 clear motions.
With the man's reluctance to have an X-ray, Liz is adamant they'll find out whether he swallowed drugs one way or the other.
OK, we're going to take you upstairs now to our custody suite, OK? So if you'd like to follow us, you can push your trolley. OK, you all right?
Yeah, if you push that one.
The man's frustration is understandable. Liz has intercepted a huge amount of cannabis.
It was actually quite a shock when I saw the tape packages. I wasn't expecting it. I just thought he'd actually got too much rum.
The packages contain more than 8 kilos of cannabis, with a street value of more than £25,000. At Gatwick Airport, a flight has just landed from Port of Spain, St. Lucia. UK border officers need to closely monitor flights from the Caribbean, a known source area for cocaine. Sniffer dogs are a powerful tool in fighting smugglers, and one bag in particular gets rookie drug dog Barney excited.
But I took Barney to where a Caribbean flight was landing, and he gave a really nice indication on a passenger's bag.
This bag is yours and this bag is yours? Yes. Right, there's things that you cannot bring in this country, okay? Things that you cannot bring in. You have no guns. Guns, like shoot, bang, bang. No guns, no drugs. No cocaine or anything like that. No? Sure? Okay. Has anybody given you anything to bring back? You're carrying parcels and gifts for people.
That's the given, that's the...
That's not what I'm asking. Right? Just put that on there for me.
The passenger is acting nervous, and Warren decides to do some background checks.
I mean, he's quite a presentable bloke that you probably wouldn't look at too much, but when Darren's come up and said that the dog's indicated on the bag, obviously you focus on that bloke. When we focus on him in the queue, he's quite nervous, and he's showing signs that he doesn't really want to be there. He wants to be straight through and out. And obviously when he's been intercepted as well, he's showed out there as well. He's fiddling with the bag. He doesn't want to make eye contact with you. And then from initially speaking really good English, he doesn't seem to understand what I'm saying to him. So yeah, it's all there.
The man's bag is put through an X-ray to check for irregularities, and straight away it confirms Barney's suspicions.
Right, you need to listen to me very carefully, okay? I know your English is not good. Okay, I'm arresting you on suspicion of being involved in the illegal importation of a controlled drug. Okay, you don't have to say anything, but it may harm your defence if you do not mention when questioned something which you later rely on in court. Anything you do say may be given in evidence. Do you understand what I've said to you?
No, I understand.
Well, basically, in a nutshell, okay, I think you have drugs in your baggage, and that's why you've been arrested.
What?
I think you have drugs in your bag, in here, okay? So you've been arrested for that, yes. We'll explain it a bit more later on, okay?
Warren has uncovered a false bottom in the suitcase, but with the man now claiming not to understand English, it's going to take a while to get to the bottom of the story. The suspected smuggler has been taken to the custody suite. Meanwhile, Warren investigates what's hidden inside the suitcase.
It's pretty well done, actually. Basically, you can see that it's got like a false bottom in it. What we want to do is just to spike it and test whatever's underneath. Let's see what we've got. There you can see, you've got like a white powder or paste on the end there. It's like a field test for cocaine.
Warren has found a white
bit of powder
powder
on there
hidden
once we
deep
put the
in the
liquid on.
structure of the suitcase.
Yeah, you can see it start to go blue already. So we've got cocaine in there.
And it's a big haul for the team.
How much do you think's there, Warren?
3 kilos.
3?
2, 3.
That's good.
The man has to be held while a Bulgarian translator is found. The officers are now able to communicate the seriousness of the crime.
Right, for that reason, okay, he was arrested on suspicion.
И поради тази причина сте арестуван по подозрение,
Of being involved in the illegal importation
че сте бил замесен в нелегален внос
of a controlled drug.
на контролирано наркотик. Неконтролиран наркотик.
Наркотик?
Наркотик. What drug do you mean?
It doesn't really matter at the moment, okay?
В момента няма значение за какъв наркотик става въпрос.
Ние смисълът бил откъде излязъл?
Right, hang on 1 minute. Basically, all we're getting doing here, okay?
Where did it come from?
Well, I don't know. He'll have to explain that, and he'll get the chance to explain that later.
Ще ви се даде възможност да обясните това по-късно.
Okay, all we're concerned with at the moment is him realising or understanding why he's been arrested, okay?
В момента просто единственото, което трябва да разберете, защо сте бил арестуван.
For rookie drug dog Barney, it's his first seizure, and he's in line for a big reward from handler Darren.
I'm really pleased. He's a new dog to me, but he's doing really well. Ready? I think he's a star in the making. Good lad.
The Bulgarian was charged with smuggling cocaine. He pleaded guilty and was sentenced to 6.5 years in prison. Officers aboard the cutters protect our coastline against drug smugglers, who are a constant but invisible threat. These high-powered ships operate in all weathers, but in September 2000, a storm off the coast of Cornwall drove them back into Falmouth in search of shelter. Always on the lookout for suspicious activity, they noticed another vessel taking refuge from the heavy seas.
The vessel, rather than coming into Falmouth, it turned and went to the other side of Carrick Roads, which is into a small harbour, which is actually St Mawes.
The officers thought it was a local, but then watched as it tied up in a dangerous position.
As the tide started to go out, they realised that this mooring was actually on a mud bank or a sandbank, and the yacht was actually settling and starting to tip.
Always ready to respond to a fellow sailor in need, the cutter decided to help.
So they launched their onboard rigid inflatable, their rib, motored across into St Mawes Harbour, went to the vessel and challenged it.
The officers had come to help, but the man on board was a smuggler who made a startling confession.
And as they stepped aboard, he turned around to them and said, "Oh, right, well, OK, the game's up, there's 6 tons on board."
The officers' act of charity had paid dividends.
They were completely flabbergasted. The first reaction was, and what do we do now? And then somebody managed, so I better get a notebook out and make a note of this, because effectively I've got a confession already before we go to court. At which point they arrested him.
The skipper was John Moore. He led them into the cabin to see the drugs for themselves.
There were bales of cannabis, literally in every available space within the vessel.
They also found evidence he wasn't working alone.
But 2 passports were actually found on the vessel. So they decided that the best thing to do was to remove him from the vessel. 3 of the cutter crew stayed on board the ketch and wait and see if the crew came back in the morning.
Moore's accomplices did return, right into the trap.
It was about 8 o'clock in the morning. 2 men jumped into the cockpit of the yacht, and basically the cutter crew arrested them there and then.
The accomplices, Craig and Needham, joined their skipper at the police station. where Moore's frank confessions continued.
And he was presented to the custody sergeant. He was then asked, "What's your occupation?" To which he replied, "I'm a drug smuggler."
This time, however, he'd failed. On the day of the trial, all three pleaded guilty to their part in the crime.
Mr. Moore was subsequently sentenced to 10 years imprisonment, Mr. Needham to 4 years imprisonment, and Mr. Craig to 5 years imprisonment.
3 more criminals were behind bars, thanks to the keen eyes of the officers and a stroke of luck.
The street value at that time was estimated to be in the region of £14.5 million. At the end of the day, the vessel being forced into Falmouth was really the only reason that we were able to intercept this load. Without that, it's very unlikely anybody would have known that this consignment of drugs was on its way.